All right, what's up? Tim Sykes here. I'm sorry for the background noise. We've got some renovations going on, but I got to make this video lesson because there are so many crazy stocks moving right now. I'm getting a ton of questions. I want to give you some homework. We are roughly 2 weeks away from this really cool event, which is my virtual trading floor. It's going to be on May 16th, all day live stream, and you basically get to, just watch every single thing that I do. I think we have 4 spots left, so you got to go to timothysykes.com/order if you want in. I'm not even going to show you the URL. I don't want lazy people. I'm very excited about this, and there's a few bonuses too. You can pause the video and look at it, but in anticipation of this, all day basically webinar where you're going to be able to see me, you're going to be able to see the stocks, you're going to be able to see my screen. It's really going to be fantastic. But to get ready for it, to best prepare for it, I want to show you how to think about the market and to give you a little bit of homework for the next 13 days roughly. So in the past month, I'm up roughly $22,000, and I'm trading with a small account this year. If you remember, I started the year with just 12,000. That 12,000 has now grown to roughly 40,000. But in the past month alone, really I've just been nailing it on crazy plays like ULTR, UNXL, Seed, RESN, GLBS. This was probably my best play. So let's just take a look at some of these, and let's take a look at what some students are doing so that you can really try and make sense of it. Because outsiders just see crazy stocks. They say it's random, it's manipulated, it's luck, and it's none of the above. It's strategy, and there's logic behind it, and there's odds behind it. So let's talk about not one of my biggest dollar gains, but probably one of my best trades, PTX, where terrible long-term chart. You can see, going back 2 years has pretty much done nothing but go down. But yesterday, a big billionaire trader, actually I'll zoom in even more so you can see really like the last 200 days. Let's actually even go to the last 100 days. I'm going to show multiple time frames. This is lesson number 1. Don't just look at one chart of the stock. I want to go back and look and see where support and resistance is from the past. It's a really good guide for future spikes. So whenever you see a stock that you're thinking about trading, whether you're going long or short, look back and see where there is former resistance. And former resistance, for those of you who don't know, is just like recent highs where the stock had a high. So previous resistance was right here at 146, and it got to basically 145-ish. Actually, pre-market, it got to 150-ish. But this resistance back from March actually decided to call the top. And so yesterday, I thought that it could pass this resistance on news of the billionaire being invested, but it did not comply. So I got out really quickly. I made like 200 or 300 bucks. It was very big disappointment for me, but I don't fight price action. That is lesson number 2. No matter what the stock is, no matter what the news is, if the stock is going the other way against your thesis, you go into these trades with a thesis, you say, hey, I think this stock is going to spike. If the price action does not concur with your thesis, as often happens in trading, you have to make updates. You have to adapt to the price action. So when I was buying this yesterday at like 125 and I thought that it could go, it just didn't. So I got out in the 130s. I made like 5 or 10 cents. That was not my goal. That's never my goal on $1 or $2 stock, but sometimes you're forced to take it. But then I started thinking, wait a minute, I know billionaire plays. This is not the first billionaire play. Whenever a billionaire has invested in a stock before, recently in the past few months, it's not just a one-trick pony. These stocks can spike again and again, and they oftentimes spike better on day 2. So your homework assignment is, if there's any billionaire plays over the next 2 weeks before this, live virtual trading floor, I want you to watch the billionaire play, especially on day 2 and day 3. And really don't necessarily think that you have to chase the stock, but think, wait a minute, I can dip buy it. And then you have to use technical analysis. Where are you going to dip buy it? Yesterday this stock was just fading from the highs of the 150 all the way down here to 90 cents. Why did it stop at 90 cents? Well, again, let's go back. Let's look at the 100-day chart And you're just looking for where, a stock has found support recently in the past. And guess what? That was right at around 90 cents. So this little drop and spike and then, failure to bounce tells us all we need to know about how to judge this trade right now. So the top here is in the 140s and the bottom here is in at 90 cents. So yesterday I was buying it at 92 cents and my goal was that it could get to the low ones. I sold too soon. Today it's up to 118, but a lot of you students nailed it. Let me actually call out a few students. They're everywhere. Oh, this is another one. Hold on, let me find. Here we go, Vicky. So she's a new student and she was in last night at 93 cents, out this morning at 105, and she's getting better. That's exactly right. She didn't catch the exact bottom. She didn't catch the exact top, but she made, nice 10, 15% on her money in a day. Also, this is probably an even better trade. This is Vin. He did not get in at the rock bottom, but he took a nice 10, 15% move. So he's investing, 5,000 shares at 99 cents, so roughly $5,000. And he's selling today at roughly 112. So he's making $600 on a $5,000 investment overnight, not using a day trade, not using much risk. And he, summarized it really well. He said, goal reached by 8 a.m., bought the panic, near multi-month support, good catalyst, spike in the AM. Thanks. And he shouldn't be thanking me. I should be thanking him because he did this even better than me. I bought it at like 92 and I sold it at like $1. So I made like 8%. And this guy's making, 12, 13% on his money. So that is a very good pattern to look for. And it's not just on billionaire plays. I actually just tried using the same logic on PRGN. I was a little off. But PRGN has been a big spiker the past few days from 25 cents all the way up to nearly $4. It's actually been the biggest spiker, and I know a lot of you guys made a lot of money on this. But when it's coming down, again, when do you dip buy? Again, I want to look back and see recent spikes and how they perform. So this spike started right at around $1.15, and the top was $1 or 4.62. So this time it didn't get to 4.62; it only got to like 4-ish, and it actually went a little further than 116. Today's low was 104. So it dropped a little more than support at 116. So I don't want you to think, oh, it's an exact science. This is another lesson. It's not an exact science. It's just looking for, basically the gist. You're trying to predict the meat of the move. And even though it dropped from 116 to 104, it still bottomed. And then it held the support right here. And I would say that this support right here at 118 really confirms the technical analysis bottom, because within an hour or 2 hours, it goes from 117 all the way up to 190. So you could have nearly doubled your money if you're thinking about dip buying at support. So a lot of you guys, I know you don't like buying right at the market open. You're buying a stock, it's scary. I get that. So think about this. Buying it on the dip at technical support. As long as there's a good catalyst and it's a volatile stock. I'm not just going to dip buy anything. But let me show you another play that was recent. MITK. And I actually mistimed this. But this stock, you can see here, reported earnings, this huge volume. They reported good earnings, and I was buying it right around here at 676 because it was a simple breakout. Remember, on my birthday webinar, I said I like gimme patterns. Buying a stock that has good earnings, that's going up when it formerly broke recent highs, that is a gimme pattern. And again, I sold it way, way, way too soon. I only made a few cents a share, but this thing is now up, nearly $1.50 a share in a few days. So earnings winners and billionaire plays take a little more time. So I want you to watch any company that's an earnings winner. I don't want you guessing earnings. Remember, I do not like trying to predict if this company is going to report good or bad earnings ahead of time. That's a low odds guessing game. I like waiting for the stock to show me that it can spike and break out. And then, maybe I should have had more confidence on this one. I will tell you, though, I learned from my mistake on MITK, and I bought EHTH the other day, which is a nice earnings winner breakout. You can see this big spike. It had already spiked up on earnings, but it wasn't definitively, going past this 11 range. Going back here to December of 2015, and February of 2016. It really is this simple. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, God, this is so pathetic. Like all he's doing is looking at past highs and waiting for a good catalyst. Yes, it is not rocket science, but again, it's not an exact science either. But I was buying this around 1110, 1115, and I was selling it in 1160s. And I underestimated that. You know, I still made my 50, 60 cents a share, which was pretty good for me, but I'm not really good with higher price stocks. And this one is now up $1 a share in a few days since my buy alert. So two very simple patterns. I want you to look for these over the next few days in anticipation of our day together on May 16th, where you're going to see ideally a lot of these plays in real time. But companies that are reporting earnings, because it's earnings season, I don't want to just buy any stock. I want the stock to break out past a recent high. And remember, even if it breaks out past a recent high, I mean, it could be a fake out breakout. So it's not an exact science. This does not work 100% of the time. But the key to my success, the key to making millions that I've found, and the key to me creating millionaire students that I've found is that you don't have to win 100% of the time. If you have an edge of winning 60, 65, 70, 75% of the time, which is what these two patterns are. So I can talk a lot about short selling, and we'll see what kinds of plays there are on May 16th when we have the whole day together. Um, but for those of you who are in the virtual trading, but at the same time, I know buying is simpler, and right now we have a lot of examples. So let me also congratulate. I brought up some students. Scared Trader. This was his first live trade after 3 months of paper trading, and he bought PTX in at 92 cents, out at $1 for $100 gain. And again, look at him. He's a young guy. His nickname is Scared Trader on Twitter. So a lot of people will say this is not very impressive. This is nothing. Well, it's a very structured trade. He's using a strategy that's going to be happening again and again. Whenever there's another billionaire play, you look for support and you try and make the 8-10%. It sounds impossible, but more times than not, it works. So it's not impossible. I'll tell you that straight up. I've seen it too many times. Here's Michael. This was probably my best trade of the past month on ULTR. Let me find it. Where was it? Right here. Yeah, it is my biggest profit of the past month. And I nailed this the other day at 34 cents because I was looking at sympathy plays. If you have seen my How to Make Millions DVD, you know all about sympathy plays. So this is another pattern. So if you're looking to buy stocks, I like buying earnings winners like EHTH or MITK. I like buying billionaire plays like PTX. And I like buying sympathy plays when a hot sector is running. So right now, the hottest sector, for whatever reason, and don't try and make sense of it, just go with it, is shipping. Okay, shipping companies have been spiking a lot. PRGN went from 25 cents to nearly $4. So 16 times your money in 2 days. And in case you didn't see this, let me actually bring this up. Where should I bring this? Sorry, Vicky, I gotta close your thing for a second. Tim 5X. I think this was, nope. Oh, maybe it was Sykes 5X. I make these little shortened links and I forget them. So this was one of my students named Sid, and he invested $400 here. Let me scroll down. He bought 700 shares at 62 cents. It was already up. The stock had already doubled, but he bought it at 62 cents, and the next day he's selling it at $3.32. So he turned $400 into $2,300, a profit of $1,900, which is awesome on a small stock, on a small account. So there is a way to, profit that way. For me, I missed PRGN entirely. I'm actually much better at buying the second mover or the third mover in an industry. And so the second mover was GLBS. So GLBS actually did spike up nicely. They're coming down now too, as most penny stocks do. But I was buying GLBS in here at 45 cents because PRGN had moved so much, and I thought that would open the door to sympathy plays. It was already up on the day. I'm not the first to discover it. I don't want you ever being the first to discover these stocks. I want to buy and piggyback stocks that are already spiking. So I was buying this at 45 cents and I sold it at like 60 cents. The next day, and I was very happy with that. The next day it goes up to $1.80. And people are like, how did you know? Well, I didn't know, first of all, okay, because this is not an exact science. And if I had a better idea, I wouldn't have sold for a quote merely, 30% gain. This would have been, a 200% gain. I don't know how big or small a stock spike is going to be. I can speculate. As a trader, I want you to think of yourself as a scientist. You're forming hypotheses, okay? You don't know exactly what's going to happen, but you can be on the right track. So I was definitely on the right track here. And then the next day, ULTR is where I actually, really nailed it. Um, and I sold way too soon again, but I made my 25%. But I nailed the perfect spot to buy because ULTR was in the exact same industry and they had similar positive financing news. So normally I don't trade financing news, but I recognize that PRGN and GLBS were big runners. So when you have the precedent as set, which PRGN and GLBS did the previous 2 days, ULTR, same sector, same kind of news, guess what? It probably can spike. And by the time, I bought it at 34 cents and sold it at 42 cents, I made 25% of my money in under an hour, in under a half hour. By the time I even got my alert out to sell it, it was already at 47 cents. And you can see here it actually went all the way up to 80 cents. So, or actually, yeah, 80 cents. So roughly a double. And even now, well, even now it's down to 37 cents. But I was going to say, even now, yesterday, even if I had missed the spike entirely and it was still at 50 cents, I would have done better. But I don't try and go for these 100% gainers. This is another lesson. I try and take the meat of the move. If I can make 20, 30, 40% on my money, that's a damn good trade. Okay? So set your expectations and don't feel bad. People are like, oh, you should feel bad that you sold this one so early. In GLBS, you only made 25% of your money. I don't feel bad when I make 25, 30% on my money. Obviously, I can do better, but right now this sector is hot. And I'm hoping over the next few days that we see a few more from this sector or similar kinds of moves. So your homework every day is to look at big percent gainers. This was a big percent gainer right here. And I want you to see if it's in the shipping sector. Because if it's in the shipping sector and it's a small company, it can spike a lot. So you have three things to look at right now, okay? Earnings winners, and there's companies reporting earnings every day. I don't care about the earnings calendar. I don't care before they show me that they're an earnings winner. I don't care before they show me that they're breaking out of a recent range. Um, and then billionaire plays, I want the stock to be up. I want there to be a lot of volume. Billionaires invest in stocks all the time. The question is, does it have enough juice to really get the stock up? And then I understand from past billionaire plays, you don't have to just buy it all at once. In fact, a lot of the better money made is dip buying it. This stock off 90 cents now at 120. Guess what? This is a nearly 30% winner. You could not have bought it and made 30% at any time after the news. The single best time to buy it was on the dip here. So I wanted to show you these three basic kinds of trades. There's also a lot of junk like CRDS running, but it doesn't hold its gains. XGTI is running, but it doesn't hold its gains. And I wanted to bring up some of these students like Frank. Okay, he bought CRDS and he nearly doubled his money. That's awesome, but it's not a pure play kind of trade. So there's a difference between kind of chasing or getting a little bit lucky on these junk stocks, where sometimes these junk stocks can catch fire, versus buying an earnings winner or a billionaire play or something right at technical support, where you can make an argument, a technical or a fundamental argument as to why you should buy it. This is a little more like gambling. And, not to knock on Frank, I'm very proud of him for doubling his money. This is awesome. But it's good to show you the difference between good penny stocks to trade versus just kind of gambling penny stocks. I did not trade CRDS. Sid, nailing PRGN. This is fantastic. I would never have held this long. So a lot of my students do better than me, and that's cool. Vin, this was a fantastic trade. I think out of all my students, this was a fantastic trade. Baroda, this was a great job. I think he actually got in before me because a lot of my students, my best students, have learned wait, you don't need to follow alerts. In fact, you shouldn't follow alerts. I'm trying to give you a strategy that you can learn to be self sufficient. I'm like training wheels. I understand you want to see it in real time, you want to learn how to spot it yourself, but eventually you will spot these yourself. And that's when it gets really exciting. Here's Austin, and he had a much better trade than me on ULTR, much better exit. Michael doubled his money, and he says video lessons are starting to pay off. Good job, Michael. Thank you. Sergey, he actually traded MITK better than me, and he recognized that it was an earnings winner. He bought it at 681 and he sold it at 742. And even he underestimated it because MITK is now over $8 a share. So it's okay to underestimate it. You're learning from every trade. Here's Kenneth, GLBS, awesome job. Made $600 on a $1,500 investment. So awesome job to Kenneth. I'm just bringing up a few of these students from the past few days because I want to show you what's been working for them. Here's Adam. He was basically invested $2,000 and he made $1,400 in 6 minutes. And again, people are going to look at this and say penny stocks are so bad, but it's not. They're not bad, okay? And I don't know how many students where I have to create millionaires, will it take for me to prove that, but I'm going to keep trying. And here's Matt. This is probably one of the best trades that I've seen a student make. He was in on PRGN and he showed a screenshot when it was breaking out on that hot day at around 68, 69 cents. And he had the patience to hold till later in the day, and he nearly tripled his money at $1.80, and he made 11,000 bucks, and he invested 7,000. So awesome, 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 awesome job, and I couldn't be prouder. In the trading suite, I got to give props to Jonas. He made $6,000 the other day. Today it's his birthday, so if you see Jonas, the trading suite, on Twitter or in the chat room, wish him a happy birthday. I think he made like 1,300 today on EBIO, which was another play. Runsick nailed PRGN. Good patience. He nearly tripled his money. Rose, I'm a big fan of her from the L Word, a TV show on Showtime, and she was in on PRGN. And, she made 50% on her money within a few minutes, and that's fantastic. Here's Jay Fuentes making a trade on DHRM, which was another spiker that day, and he's trading from class. And I love it when people show me, their screen, their trading screen, and they're trading in class. So that's another lesson that you can do this from anywhere. Here's Roberto making good money on DHRM, $1,000 plus profit. So just want to show you what you can expect in this market with, here's DHRM and it's come down. But again, this is a kind of play that you can spot. Stocks to trade helps you spot it early. I think that's what everyone who got in saw the news early. And, it looks like it's just crazy price action to anybody who's not watching it. And it comes way down off its highs, but this is what's working. So every single day up until the virtual trading conference and even after the virtual trading conference, but I want to prepare you for that day. We're looking for these big spikes. And then if the catalyst is right, if it's an earnings play or a billionaire play, then I'm looking to dip by it. Nice and simple. Wait for the stocks to show you that, they're worth trading. Wait for them to prove that they're worth your hard-earned money. I don't want to just get into any stock for, no reason. Okay? Trading is stressful. It doesn't have to be, obviously, if you cut your losses quickly and you're disciplined, but it still takes time. So you only want to put your money to work. You only want to utilize your time, your precious time that you could be using with your friends or family or, studying. When you're trading, you want it to be a good pattern, and that will give you better odds. So your homework every single morning is to look for the biggest percent gainers and see, is it an earnings winner? Is it up because of good earnings? Did a billionaire just invest in it? Is it in a hot sector? And you start categorizing the reasons why, and you start seeing which strategies are working. Right now, all three strategies are working: hot sector, billionaire plays, and earnings. If you're buying for morning spikes, if you're buying for breakouts, if you're buying on dips. Not buying randomly. I don't want to just buy a stock mid-range. Okay, like people are asking me right now, should I buy PTX? It's at 115. No. Okay, I would only buy it if it breaks out past 150, or if it, maybe double bottoms here at 90 cents. But right now, it's in the exact mid range. It's 25 cents a share off its lows and 35 cents a share off its highs. I do not want to just randomly buy. So think about what I'm saying in this video. Be more selective with your trades. It's okay to miss a trade. It's okay to mistime a trade, but don't waste your money and treat this like a business. Again, if you're interested in spending a full day live with me, I don't know how long my voice can last, but we'll see. I believe we have 6 spots left. Don't quote me on that, but if you go to timothysykes.com/order, ORDER, you can get in on it. I'm not even going to link it. I'm not even going to tell you. I only want people who truly want to be in. And I think it's going to be a great day, and I'm really looking forward to it. But congrats to so many of you guys. This market is just awesome. And even if you're not trading yet, or if you're trading small, there's so many educational examples every day. Really excited. Thank you guys.